I got this package just the other day from the lovely folks out at Touratech. No, nothing they gave me, something I actually purchased with my own money. I'm not enough of a YouTuber to get things given to them, but anyway. Just fancy little story here. As we start to open this up, I reached out to another seller for this exact same product who had it for slightly less money to ask a question, and no response by email, no response by telephone, so I said screw it, asked the same question to Touratech, and they answered me right away. So one thing I've learned about Touratech as a company, their customer service is freaking awesome. Alright, here we go. The mandatory book of things that nobody can afford everything. A sticker that I just never use. Bill of lading. Hardware we'll get into in a minute, and look at that, another box. So what's in that box, you say? I bet most of you probably figured out by now what it is, and if not, we'll wait till we open it. If I can open it. Some serious tape. Oh look, it's cardboard, just what I wanted. Honestly, it is a new top box. I've never been overly happy with the BMW top box. I thought it was just a hair too small, but I didn't want a monstrous box, so the BMW box is 31 liter. This is a 38 liter Zega Pro made by Touratech, still aluminum, just like my BMW box. What I did buy was I bought the locks for this. I'll have to install those later. And this does require a backing plate, which was a separate purchase. Unfortunately, this isn't just a universal fit to the BMW GSA luggage rack. You do have to buy something. And how do you open it? I have no idea. Oh, okay. Hope I can see this on camera. This tab right there you gotta press. Then it opens right up. There you have it. I thought I'd just throw this out here real quick. New box, old box. Just gives you a quick visual on the differences here. Again, not a huge difference, but that's exactly what I was after. Alright, well unfortunately, the helmet with camera still does not fit. I was kind of hoping it would. Not the end of the world. Even with the BMW box, the helmet would fit just like that. But there's definitely more room now. Be easier to put gloves and things around if I want to lock things up when I get off the bike. Let's start the install by installing the lock that locks this onto the bike, and you can see it's a very, very simple lock, and all it does is go down into that hole. Let me get my thumb out of the way here. It goes down into that hole and stops you from doing this and unlocking it. Very simplistic, but again, it goes back to a lock only keeps an honest person honest. It just falls in the hole. We have a nut to install on the back side. And I can't even believe there's not a lock washer of any kind. So I guess what I'm gonna do when I put this on, and I will get you in from the other side so you can see what's going on, is I'm gonna add a little bit of blue Loctite, and I need to go get some tools anyway. Well, they give you this cool socket wrench here to put the nut on, but just let me say it's a very bad finish. There's a pretty wicked lip in here that catches on the nut pretty bad. But anyway, I'll be back with some blue Loctite. All right, when you get inside here, you're going to need a 3mm Allen wrench. And I am trying to do this and stay out of the way as much as possible so you can kind of see what's going on here. Because honestly, I've not opened this up yet. Okay. The wire, in fact, does go through it. Like that. So, yeah. Interesting. I guess we'll have to take some more stuff apart. Yeah, I'm doing this without reading the instructions, by the way, in case you can't tell, because no good man reads the instructions, right? Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to remove this E-clip and pull the whole thing out. We'll find out here in a few minutes. I hate E-clips. Now with that off, we can actually install the lock. I guess I should point it like that so you can see it in the camera. It's kind of hard to do. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm not going to be able to film this just because of the way I got things set up. I'm going to put a dab of blue Loctite on these threads and put the nut on. I'll be right back. Pay attention to this nut. One side is rounded, so that will face, let me get this in camera. That will face up towards the camera. This side is flat. You want the flat to go down. That's where this cool tool comes in. And I'm going to have to do this off camera just because I can't hold this where I need to and film it at the same time. Alright, you do have this hole to put a screwdriver or something through to get a little bit more leverage. But because of that burr I told you about on the inside, it was really hard to get that to start. It wanted to cross that thread a lot. So be super careful or take some time with a file and get rid of that burr. But what I did, let me get this on camera, I put the nut in there and then I just kind of had the nut in here and went down in like this. Basically, I was able to get it started and now it's tight and hopefully it will never come loose. I mean, don't get stupid ridiculous, but tighten it up. Now with the key locked, that is all that does, is that prevents that from turning. Unlock the key, and now it can turn again. So it's not stupid secure, but it just keeps an honest person honest. And Touratech, if you're listening, spend a few extra dollars to go ahead and install that for your customer. I don't think it's going to break the bank for you. Now the way that's going to go back together is you'll have that washer, which is going to be really hard to do at this angle. I'm trying to film it so you can see what's going on and keep myself out of the way as much as possible. And there she is. She's back on. So then I hope that shows up, but you have that piece that has to go over that piece a specific way. Starting to think this might be the easy way to do it. I put that little dude on there like that and drop stuff while I'm at it. This is where I think it's going to get difficult. Get that wire to go back through that slot. I wonder if I should take that off. And line it back up like that. And off camera, I'll probably have to get that to go back in the hole the proper way, because I know there's no chance of filming that right. At least I don't think there is. Let me get the other bolt started. And I'm going to come back after the fact and I'm going to put just a super tiny amount of blue Loctite on these when I've got it all said and done, but I'm not going to film that. Okay, I got to watch my words here just because I accidentally shut the camera off. I did have to put this back in the hole to be able to get that bottom screw lined up, and right now they're on there. I wouldn't even say hand tight yet, but I don't know if this shows up on camera, but that's all it does is it moves that. And I'm not putting much pressure on right now because nothing's tight. I don't want to take a chance of breaking something. But that is how you install that lock. And now here in a little bit, we're going to move on to installing the next lock for the actual trunk lid. Again, don't read the instructions. Instructions are for amateurs. But I'm assuming the first thing that has to happen is this plug has to come out. Hey, look at that. Aren't I a genius? And then, wherever I've just put the lock, I just had it in my little beady hands. It's the exact same setup. You got the same brass nut and basically the same but just slightly different locking mechanism. Now, the question is, which way does it have to go in? I honestly do not know. So, yeah, let's look in here. It looks like this way. Get out of the light. That tab to my right will be locked. Let me find the key. So it looks like with the barrel horizontal, I'm assuming that is going to be unlocked. Or do I have to take that apart to get it to go in? Yeah. Sure looks that way, doesn't it? Alright, you're going to need a 10 mil for that. And I don't assume I can do this by hand, and I can't. So I went and got what we call here in the States, and I'm sure someone's gonna get mad, but it's a joke, people. A West Virginia socket set. In other words, adjustable pliers, crescent wrench, or a real rusty Craftsman, if that's what you wanna say. Take the nut off, and again, I'm going to apply a little blue Loctite. Looks like they have maybe just a tad bit of Loctite themselves on there. But I did not see any way to get this to go in. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, I just lost a tumbler. Hey, be careful with that. I'll have to come back when I get that reinstalled. I don't know if this will show up on camera, but there's slots in there. Got the tumblers reinstalled. So, don't do what I did, be more careful, hold your finger on that. All right, back to our regularly scheduled program. All right, I just put a little piece of tape to keep that out of the way so I can manipulate that just a little bit easier. Now, question is, I don't know if I have this locked or unlocked. I guess it's irrelevant, right? Shove it in the hole. Thought I had this in the unlocked position. But I'm going to install it in what I believe is locked. And once I get all this working, I am going to come back and throw some Loctite on everything, just like before. I want to make sure it works first. I can't see a thing. All right, there the nut started. So, all right, I know you can't see anything, but that's okay, neither can I. So the nut started for that. Let's put this nut on. Again, just finger tight for right now. Oh, guess what? Oh, nope, you can put it on with the lever in place. All right. So that fancy tool that I gave you earlier might come in handy for this. And figures, I just hung it up. So, did I just screw everything up or does it still work? Okay, it still works, but it was a little sticky, so I must have had something slightly out of whack. Okay. Need about 4 hands right now. That's how it's working, and I think I've got it timed wrong right now. And by the way, to open this, that's what this little key here is for, and it's a bear, I will admit that. All right, I'm hoping I can zoom in and post, but what I had done when I was struggling is I had it locked. And you can see how that goes up and down. At least I hope you can see it on camera. And that is how you open it. Okay, that locks the thing. That locks the tab under so you can't unlock it. So when I turn this to a vertical from a horizontal, and you may install it different, I think that's totally up to you. Again, it's hard to do one-handed because I'm trying to hold the light, and there you go. So now I can go ahead and tighten the nut after I apply a little bit of blue Loctite. And that's it for getting the locks installed. Now we have to go down to the bike and install the base plate because it doesn't mount to the factory BMW base plate. Okay, as you've already seen in the picture, I've got to replace the whole rack, and I have a T40 here. And then over here, I got to use a regular, because my socket won't fit. Holy moly, are these things tight. They must have a bunch of Loctite on. I will come back once I have this removed. I think you kind of get the point. Wow. All right, I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, I took out this spacer from right here, and now it looks like I need to add this bigger spacer. So let me go get the other ones and I'll be back in a minute. So there's the two original spacers. And the one thing that drives me nuts is you got these companies like Touratech that make a lot of aftermarket components for BMW, and they send you Allen bolts instead of torque bolts. Why do we do that? And then here's the Touratech one going in place. Just gonna set it there and hopefully not knock it off. I think I can reuse the Torx here, but here I'm definitely gonna need the longer Allen bolts that they supplied. Let me go get that stuff. All right, here's the torque that BMW supplied, and here's the Allen that Touratech supplied. So what I'm gonna do, if I can, I'm gonna reuse the Torx up here. I just wanna make them fit, and as always, I'm gonna put blue Loctite on that. And here's the Torx that BMW supplied, and here's the Allen that they supplied. If you notice, it is a little longer because of the longer spacer. And this Allen takes a 5mm Allen to do it. So there it just started. So I will come back. I'm going to put some Loctite on these bolts, and you don't need to watch me screw them down. So I'm going to go ahead and get these bolts installed, and I'll be back when I'm ready to put the top box on. I misspoke, it's a 6, but the genius of engineers as a guy that works on CNC machine tools for a living never ceases to amaze me. You basically put things to where you can't hardly access the head of the bolt. If there's any engineers out there, why the hell do you do things like that? You ought to be slapped up alongside the head. So you're definitely going to need a ball to Allen wrench to at least get them down there and somewhat touching, because right now that's all I have is just basically finger tight. And then I'm sure there's a torque spec on these. What they are, no idea. I'm not gonna look it up. I'm just gonna tighten them up to where it feels right to me. So if you need to find out what the torque spec is, you're gonna have to look that up on your own. So I'm just gonna make these where I feel like they're tight. There you have it. That is a Touratech installation. Lock that dude. So it's somewhat secure. I feel like the BMW OEM locking system is better than this, but you know what? It's gonna keep an honest person honest. Push up on the tab, unlock it. That's going to be the hardest part to get used to. That's a lot more difficult than the BMW one was. Oops. All right, there you have it. That wasn't too bad. If you would, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, mash that subscribe button down below. And sorry for not being on camera for this, because right now I have something on my t-shirt that isn't YouTube appropriate. So I didn't feel like changing my t-shirt. I just figured I'd stay out of the camera for this video, which you don't need to see my ugly mug anyway. There you have it, and maybe at the end of 2023, the summer, when this thing has 12 to 20,000 miles on it, I'll come back and do a review of it. All right, thanks again. We'll see you in the next video.